everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. As you can see, I am in an entirely new location from my last video. I did mention that we were moving houses on the farm and we are officially moved in. You can see one of my big things was as soon as we moved in, I wanted to put up my Christmas tree. So it's over there in the back, but this is my new space. It's honestly, it's been a wild ride. I was talking to my husband yesterday and I said, we have lived in 3 different houses in less than a year, and we've done a big moving to another country move, and we've done another big house move. So things, as you can see, we still have things to put away and organize, and we, haven't settled. Obviously, the Christmas tree was my priority, but I have told my husband that I do not want to move for a while. If you can hear my son, he's outside riding his bike, and we have the washing machine going, so I don't know how loud any of the sounds are, but it's just real life, and this is what it is right now. For today's video, I wanted to have a little chat about some of the things that I have noticed living in a small rural farming town as opposed to living in a big bustling city such as Vancouver. I have a lot to say, but I thought I would give a couple of my points now that have, I guess, been most prevalent to me since we've moved here. There's obviously a lot of differences, but these are the ones that have really stood out to me. I will say that it has been a bit of an adjustment period. We were so used to living in a suburb in Vancouver and being close to everything and having access to everything. And it has been a big shift moving to a town where, we have to drive 20 minutes to get groceries, which really doesn't sound like a lot, but we used to live less than a 5-minute drive to the grocery store. One thing that I have noticed about living in a small rural community town, we have a lot more space here, which is one of the things that was really important to us, especially having a young son. Where we lived in Vancouver, we just didn't have a lot of backyard outdoor space. We were very limited to a small backyard that wasn't even ours. It was our landlord's, so we couldn't do too much with it. But here, as you can probably see out of the window, we have so many paddocks and so many fields, and we have our own backyard, and my son is outside now just riding his bike around, and it's so nice to have that freedom and to have that much space to run around and do things in. It's nice. But that also goes hand in hand with sometimes it does feel a little bit isolating. And when we did live in Vancouver, obviously we had neighbors right there. I mean, we weren't particularly close with our neighbors, but if you went for a walk around the street, you'd walk past your neighbors and give a friendly hi, and it was at least a little bit of connection, which you don't always get now. Another thing that I've noticed living in a small rural town, it's very true. Everyone knows everyone. And I didn't know if I would believe if that was true, but I work in the community, and if I go into town, I am bound to see at least one person that I know, no matter where I go. Which sometimes it's people I work with, which is weird to see in a not professional setting, if you know what I mean. It's also hard in those moments when I'm with my son, and if he's having a bit of a hard moment in the grocery store, I will see someone there that I know that will see, and it's kind of people get to know you when you live in a small town. And you know, and sometimes I just want to go and, you know, throw on my comfy clothes and go into town, and, you know, might run into someone that's dressed all glamorously, and it's like, oh, didn't think I was gonna see anyone today, but I did. So yeah, it can be a pro and a con to know people in the community, but it is weird. When I would go out in Vancouver, sometimes, you know, I'd, you know, run errands a couple days a week, and I wouldn't even run into anyone I knew. So it is very, very different. Another thing is, we live 20 minutes out of the nearest town, which is good and bad in terms of things like, you know, groceries. It's made us become, I think, a bit more intentional. You know, we don't want to go into town every single day. That's 40 minutes of driving. So when we do go into town to run errands, we do find that we are a bit more intentional. We're kind of figuring out, okay, we need to do these jobs. You know, this is where we're going to go in town to get them all done, so we don't have to keep going backwards and forwards. With groceries, it's kind of like really intentional planning meals, because we don't want to keep running into town to get something that we forgot. But then on the flip side, it is hard when, you know, those odd occasions where you do forget something. You know, you run out of milk, or you forgot to order something that you need for a dinner, and it's not like you can go 5 minutes up the road. You have to go into town again. And where we lived in Canada, we had a big grocery store less than 5 minutes away, so it was easy to pop back and forth. So that's a little bit tricky. Another thing about being in a small rural community, while we have, you know, stores like Kmart and, you know, the Warehouse and some other hardware stores, they might not always have all of the items that one of their bigger city stores would have. I might see something online at Kmart that I really like, but I could go into town and not find it, and would have to order it in from their bigger store to get, which is fine, but again, it just takes time to get. And with that, if you really need it, you have to be a bit more proactive and a bit more intentional so you get it in time. And another big thing is, it's not like Canada where you can order something from Amazon, it's there the next day. Again, it's really planning when you want to order something, because it might take a week or so to get to you. And where we live in a little farm in a rural community, we often get packages sent to family members' houses in town, because they don't always deliver to our rural box or drop off. So if we want something bigger delivered, thankfully we have family in town that we can get it delivered there, because some places don't come to rural farms. Those are some of the biggest differences that I have noticed as of right now, living in a small rural community in New Zealand as opposed to big Vancouver. Oh, another thing I will say is, at least at this time of the year, Christmas, that I've noticed that our small little community farming town has a lot of family-friendly Christmas events. We went to a Christmas parade on the street yesterday. The week before, we went to the town's Christmas tree lighting. There's a Christmas in the park movie night next week, and there's just lots of fun events for the family, which I know there's tree lightings and things like that in Vancouver, but each suburb kind of didn't really have their own thing. It was more the big city event, which if you went to, everyone was going to, so it was very busy and big, and so I've really enjoyed that. Those are some of the things that I've noticed since living in a small rural community. I'm sure there's more to add, but I can do that in another video. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Press the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to follow along my journey of adjusting to life in a small New Zealand farming rural community compared to big bustling Vancouver. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.